Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about, or telling you guys about my labor and birth story for Gallia. She's now a month old. Today is November 11th and she was born October 10th. So yesterday she turned 1 month. But today I'm going to be discussing or telling you guys about the labor and birth story of Gallia. So October 8th, I went in for my appointment and for my weekly visit for Gallia. And we ended up finding out that I was going to be induced, and she mentioned that I could come in at midnight, October 9th. So that's what we did. October 9th at midnight, we went into the hospital to get not registered, but to go in to have Gallia. So 12 a.m. that's when we went in. In between 12 a.m. to 1:15, they were monitoring her heart rate, my contractions. I got dressed in my hospital gown, and then they checked me as well, and I was 1 centimeter dilated, 50% effaced. I was at a -1 station, and my cervix was anterior, and thank goodness it wasn't posterior like it was like 2 weeks before that. About 1:20 a.m. in the morning, they started my induction with a pill. Can't quite remember what the name of the pill was, but it was a pill that they insert and put it near your cervix to help your cervix dilate. Well, by 1:40 a.m. they drew my blood. Someone came in from the lab and drew my blood then. And from 1:40 a.m., from the time they came in, drew the blood and then left, until 5:30 in the morning, October 9th, I was resting. So while I had the pill in me, I wasn't able to get up and walk around. I had to lay in bed. So that's what I did. I just rested. And then at 5:50, I hadn't yet got any more dilated, so they gave me the second pill. So I had to wait 4 hours for sure before they gave me another pill. Well, I was told that my midwife was going to come in, and well, she came in to check on me, I think that morning, and just, you know, checked up on me and said that she'd be back around 12 to check me and see how things were progressing. Well, around 12 p.m., I got checked, and I was still at a 1. So they were going to break my water, but of course I wasn't dilated enough, and you have to be at least like a 2, I think, or maybe further than that, maybe about a 3 or so to get your water broke. They ended up checking me. I couldn't get my water broke because I wasn't dilated enough. At 3 p.m. they started Pitocin because nothing was progressing. So the pills really did not help me, surprisingly, and I was 40 weeks and 6 days, mind you. So they started Pitocin at 3 p.m. I was still at, well, I think I dilated just a tad bit because they were saying I was about 1.5 centimeters dilated. So they decided to do a Foley bulb, which it stretches your cervix to about to 4 centimeters dilated. Hey, what are you doing? All right, continuing. Anyway, so that passage is not gonna probably stay in. We might have to hold it because she may not keep it in there. By 5 p.m. I was 1.5 centimeters dilated. So they decided to do the Foley bulb because it would end up helping me to dilate because I hadn't yet dilated. And I was already, from the time they started inducing me until that time, it was almost, well, it was already over 12 hours. So, with that being said, they put the Foley bulb in. The Pitocin was shut off. They had, then after they put the Foley bulb in, at 5:30 p.m., they put Cervidil in to help my cervix ripen and soften. So, from the time they gave me the Foley bulb, that has to stay in for 12 hours. So, I mean, I was able to get up, go to the bathroom whenever I wanted to, but every hour you have to pull on like the string that's coming out of you, basically, and pull on it not pull on it, but just kind of tug on it just to see if it'll fall out. So like a light little tug at it. You have to tug at it every hour. So from 5 p.m. when I had it put in until the next morning. So we'll keep going from there. The Foley bulb was removed around 5:20 a.m. and the Cervidil was too. So they removed both the Foley bulb and the Cervidil. And then at 6:15 a.m. I was started on a low dose of Pitocin, starting at a 2. At 7:15 a.m., so an hour later, my water was broke and I was at 3 to 4 centimeters. So the Foley bulb is supposed to get you to 4 centimeters dilated. Well, they had it in me for 12 hours, which is the usual. And usually by 12 hours, the thing usually falls out by then or before then. Mine never fell out because I never even got to a 4 at that time in the morning. So you could tell how my body was not wanting to do anything at all until it was forced to. So 6:15, I was started on a low dose of Pitocin. 7:15, my water was broke. And this was October 10th. So we moved into the next day. So October 10th at 7:15 a.m., my water was broke. And I was at 3 to 4 centimeters dilated. I don't know how many times I've said that, but I feel like I've said that a lot. And so at 8 a.m., I was able to walk the halls, bounce on my ball, do basically whatever. So that's what I did. Around 10:35 a.m., my Pitocin was at like the number was 10 that they got me up to by that time, by 10:35 in the morning. 12:50 p.m., I was dilated to a 4. 4:30 p.m., I was dilated to a 6. 5:20 p.m., I finally was dilated to a 7 to an 8. So you can tell that this was a long labor. During this time that I'm saying that I was dilated to this and that, these contractions were absolutely terrible. It was, I'll get to that in a second about between bringing her into the world and, well, actually pushing her out, between that to then and all of this. So 7 p.m. came around, I was put in the birthing tub because I was planning on having a water birth. So I was put in the birthing tub. By 8 p.m. I wasn't progressing. My contractions were slowing down without being on the Pitocin. So I was taken out and I was put on the monitors for my contractions and her heart rate. And by 8:05, so about 5 minutes later, I was put on the Pitocin again. By 10:10 p.m., I was having so much pain. My contractions, like, the only time they would really happen, of course, was when I was on that Pitocin, because I don't even know what my body was even doing. But it was exhausting, and I was in so much pain that they decided to give me pain meds at 10:10 p.m. because I was exhausted, and it was mainly because I was in so much pain that I could not rest. So they gave me the pain medicine then. In between that time, I was laying on the bed at that time. At 10:10 p.m. I was in the bed laying there resting. I know that there was a lot of commotion going on. I really was kind of just in and out of consciousness, I believe, between all the contractions that I was having. I was still feeling the contractions. The pain medicine did not take the pain away from the contractions. At this rate, I never got an epidural. The only thing unnatural that was going on was literally trying to get me to dilate. So any method of induction that they could do for me there at the hospital, they did. So, the Cervidil, the Pitocin, the 2 pills, the Foley bulb, all of that. They did all of those methods and nothing really worked until they finally put that Foley bulb in. And that didn't even fall out on its own. It had to be taken out. So, I was in the bed and I feel bad because I was kind of smacking Bobby because I was in so much pain. And, like, I was out of it because literally, like, I was in so much pain, but yet the pain medicine made me I was closing my eyes and just trying to rest through those contractions, or even like between the contractions, and then trying to breathe through the contractions, but instead I was kind of like screaming in a way, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I think like kind of yelling somehow eased the pain of the contractions somewhat, but yet it was really hard to breathe through them. And so by 11:30 p.m., in between, let's just say in between 11:30 p.m. and 10:10 when I got the pain medication, I was telling my midwife that I felt like I needed to push. I was only dilated to an 8 when I was feeling like I needed to push, okay? My body was not doing anything. I remember telling my midwife and everyone else in the room, nurses, my doula, my husband, everyone, I was telling them that, like, I don't understand why my body hasn't done anything, why my body's not progressing. I said, but I'm feeling like I need to push. So she was like, she was trying to like tell me to hold on for a little bit, but then I was adamant that I needed to push. So I told her, I said, I'm going to push. And I said, I feel like I'm going to go, you know, to the bathroom, number 1. But, like, I need to pee. Oh, hey. You're okay. But I felt like I needed to pee at the same time, but I was like, I have to push. So she's like, okay, just, you know, I guess go ahead, you know, push, whatever. And so I did. And I felt like Gallia was getting lower and lower. Well, she ended up checking me, and I got to a 9. So, since I got to a 9, she was just kind of like, okay, you know, they were starting to get the birth tub already ready before, when I started saying that I was needing to push. So they started getting the birthing tub ready again, because they had to reheat the water, empty the other water out, all that mess in between the time that I got the pain medicine, when they got me out of the tub, to then. And so they got me out of the tub, they got me off the bed, took me off Pitocin, and I went right to the tub. They were helping me in, and then I let them go, and like I dove into the birthing tub because I just knew I had to get to the water. Well, before that, I told my midwife, I was like, I need to get in that water right now because I'm about to push this baby out. So they got everything ready. She checked me again, and I was at like, I think I was at a 9. So like every time I was pushing, I was dilating more and more in the bed. So my cervix wasn't fully dilated when I was starting to push her out. That's just nuts to me. I don't understand that. And so I get to the tub, but I guess she was right there too between all this. But this was all like a blur to me. With all this information, Bobby was updating our family, so I basically pulled it from our group chat that we had from our family of what times everything was happening, because I cannot remember exactly how everything was playing out because I was exhausted. It was a long labor. Anyway, so I dove in the pool. Bobby was outside the pool like, whoa, like what is going on? And I dove in there and I looked at Bobby and I'm like, what are you doing? Get in this pool. I'm about to push this baby out. And I think I said it like twice before he like actually started taking initiative and like getting in the pool to help me. Well, he gets behind me, and I like sprawl out, and I'm laying against him, and you know, I'm very comfortable at that point. Whenever he got behind me, I was able to lay flat. Like, I don't know why that helped me in the way, but I was chill. I was calm. I wasn't screaming anymore. The whole time during these contractions, from like most of the day, I was like yelling in pain from probably 3 p.m. until, you know, when they got me into the tub at around 11:30 p.m. So for those hours, I was screaming and in pain. I get in the water and I'm calm. Even my doula was like, I cannot believe how calm that you got when you got in that water. Well, I didn't scream at all anymore after I got in there. I was moaning. I moaned a few times before actually getting her out. So I'm starting to push in the labor pool in the birthing tub while my husband is behind me, and my midwife is checking on her and checking on me and sitting there right there ready, you know, to catch her when she comes out and to make sure everything goes smoothly. Well, I'm pushing and pushing, and in the matter of like 12 to 15 minutes, I had her out. But from the time that I got her head out, when her head was actually out in the water, my midwife gave me 3 chances, 3 pushes to like try to get her rest of her body, her shoulders and everything out. But that never happened, even though how hard I was trying so hard to get her shoulders out, and like nothing was progressing. Well, she was turned at kind of like an angle, and so my midwife had to like, they told me to get, like, the nurses were told by my midwife, we need to get her out. So I'm standing up and they're helping me up because she's out of me, her head is out of me, and so they're helping me out of the pool. And so as I'm getting out of the pool, her poor little head kind of bumps the side of the plastic pool. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just hit my baby's head on the side of the pool, you know, like, oh my gosh. And the nurses like lift me up and put me on the bed because they pushed it up to the birthing pool and then I guess pushed it back after I was already on it. And then my midwife, she's, I guess, putting her hands in me to like widen everything up so that way her shoulders can come out. And so she tells me, okay, Caitlin, you have to push really hard as you can. So I push as hard as I can, and she just comes right out. And they were trying to get her to, like, I guess, breathe and everything like usual. Like, whenever a baby comes out, they're turning them over so they can, like, breathe or whatever, I guess. I can't even tell you what was going on. There was so much chaotic stuff that was going on at that time. Like, of course, just having her and just being put on a bed out of the birthing tub, and it happened so quick. So she comes out, they check on her, she starts crying, and they end up eventually, after Bobby cuts the cord, they ended up putting her on me. Like, they usually let it delay with the cord cutting and all that, and clamping and all that, but I guess with how everything was playing out, it was kind of important to cut the cord right then. So then they put her on me, and that's basically what happened. And it was a long, crazy labor. So, of course, I went in on October 9th at midnight. Ooh. And I had her at 11:53. So I started pushing at 11:30 p.m., was dilated only maybe 8 to 8.5 centimeters at 11:30, or a little bit. Yeah. By 11:30, I was like only like maybe a little bit before then, I was at 8 centimeters dilated. And I pushed maybe a little bit more, and then I was at a 9. And I wasn't fully dilated when they put me in the pool at 11:30. And then I had her and pushed her out and had her out fully and birthed at 11:53 p.m. So it was close to 48 hours, 2 full days of induction and labor and birth of having her. So that is, that I can do my best of. That is my labor and birth story of Miss Gallia Jane. So I hope you guys found this funny or enjoyed it or whatever, of my whole labor story and how it went with Miss Gallia. So I hope you guys have a great night and evening wherever you may be, and that you guys will be blessed in Jesus' name.